Hey everyone, I've gotten a lot of requests for my runes and builds with Kalista, so today I am bringing you just that. Just a heads up, I do go over multiple builds and runes depending on the matchups, but yeah, let's jump into it. So firstly, we're going to start off with the most common, and I'm sure a lot of you guys run this, is Hail of Blades with Taste of Blood, Eyeball Collection, and Ravenous Hunter. With the Precision Tree, this is completely up to you on this one, but I've used to run Overheal up until champions like Zeri were created. This will work really well depending on your build. If you're doing a lifesteal build, this could be really good. I never run Triumph personally. I know some people do. I don't. But what I've been running the most is actually Presence of Mind. Ever since I started running Qmax, I burned through my mana. That's where Presence of Mind is great in that area. Also, it can help with run trading because you get mana every time you attack the enemy champion. And then you do have the option here between Alacrity and Bloodline. I prefer Bloodline just because you always build a lot of attack speed with Kalista, and there is a soft cap on your attack speed once you get like over 1.6, 1.7 attack speed on Kalista, where your hops with attack move will not be hopping much quicker until you have over the attack speed cap, really. So this is what I run for Hail Blades, and next I will go into the pros and cons of Hail Blades. So the pros of Hail Blades is that you have really good trading. It's actually the best rune early game for Kalista, and you can actually hop faster. And what I mean by that is if a Pike or some other champion tries to engage on you, you can actually auto them and hop quicker because of your attack speed, which will actually help you escape out of some engagements. And then you also have great all-in damage. You know, if you auto attack them 3 times in succession and then you follow it with a Q and an E, you know, you can easily do a few hundred damage level 1. The negatives, the cons, however, are that it does fall off mid-game. It does have a cooldown, so if you get caught in a fight with Hail Blades on cooldown, it's actually irrelevant. And then lastly, it does become irrelevant late game when you have enough attack speed. You will not even notice the Hail Blades being a rune. Okay, so the next rune that I've been running the most actually is Lethal Tempo. The reason I like Lethal Tempo is that you get the attack range. I don't even personally like it for the attack speed. I really like it for the attack range. It makes Kalista feel like an actual AD carry when she's at the same range that all these other AD carries are at. But it does take 6 autos. Then I run Presence of Mind, Bloodline, and Coup de Grace. And then some people will run Ravenous Hunter, Taste of Blood. These two are not that beneficial in my eyes. What I've actually been doing is running Bone Plating. So Bone Plating will help Kalista's kit in those all-ins early game, or even in a one-on-one late game. It won't stop insane amounts of damage, but it will stop some. And then I've been pairing this with actually having Overgrowth. So I'm sure I'm probably the only one doing this right now, but Overgrowth is actually very helpful when you are running the build that I'm running, and I'll get into that build later. But essentially, you'll get an extra 150 health in that like mid game, around 15-20 minutes in. Pair that with your shield bow and all these other health items I'll be showing you guys. It's a very useful rune. And then I run the typical attack speed, attack damage, and armor. So this is what my Lethal Tempo rune looks like. Okay, so the pros and cons of Lethal Tempo. So the pros is obviously the attack speed. You get more attack speed each auto. The other pro is there's no cooldown on this like there is Halo Blades, where you know, this can always be active every auto. Now the biggest pro would actually be the attack range. Once you get that 6 autos, your attack range is, I believe, 75 higher, which can be really good for Kalista. It actually puts her in range with most other AD carries. It's also very good against melee champions because you can stack it much easier, and you can keep cutting backwards, and then eventually, after six autos, you will have it fully procced. And then the other pro is that it can increase the attack speed cap if you build a certain build, which can actually make you hop faster with a click. Typically, A-Click has that soft speed cap as well, but for some reason, when you reach the max attack speed cap, your A-Click will actually be increased much quicker. And then the cons are it can be hard to auto 6 times versus a double range matchup. I don't know if you've ever versed a Caitlyn Senna or Caitlyn Lux matchup as Kalista, but it's pretty miserable. You can never really get on them unless you have a really good engaged with the support or jungle. So that's where it can be a little frustrating. And then it's not as good early game because it's a slow ramping rune. Hail Blades or even Press the Attack may be a better early game rune. And then the attack speed does keep getting nerfed on this rune. They've messed with it a few times now because a lot of AD carries are running it. So you never really know when this might be not a very good rune in the future. And here is the last rune page you can run on Kalista. This is more of a preference, but it's Press the Attack. Everything else is the same as the Lethal Tempo page. But Lethal Tempo and Press the Attack are very similar. It's either do you want to do more damage, every third auto you do more damage, your run will do more damage, or do you want the attack range? That's really what you have to decide. Right now, with the state of the game, I've been running Lethal Tempo because every range champion that's in meta right now outranges me hard. When you have Jinx and Jhin and Caitlyn back in meta, you're going to need the attack range. But maybe if it does pivot back to like Lucian, another of those champions, Press the Attack might be in meta again. Really depends on what you want to do. But this definitely would be the best damage, but you just have to factor in that you won't get that attack range. And here we are with my 2 favorite builds. So this would be the most common build you've probably seen. Start off with a Doran Blade and Health Potion, and then you run your core, which is going to be the Berserker Greaves into the Shield Bow. Should always be building that Shield Bow first item. I do think it's the best item in the game. I've tried running Blade of the Rune King first item and all these other builds. Nothing beats Shield Bow. It's just too good on Kalista. And then secondly, I like to run the Rage Blade. Rage Blade is very good because of Kalista's passive, which means she does 90% damage with her autos. So building attack damage is not good, so it's actually better to convert your critical strike into this on-hit damage. And then this will actually give you more Ren stacks as well once you build this item, which means the Ren will do more damage. This is by far the best DPS for Kalista, is running the Rage Blade. And I do recommend that you build this second item instead of Hurricane. You'll be much better off in any one-on-one matchups, as well as just doing more DPS. Hurricane is only better if you're fighting in clumps of people in the mid game. But aside from that, you can usually wait to get Hurricane third item. And this is always going to be your core build for Kalista. And then let's say you wanted to do the most damage on Kalista. Next up would be either Lord Dominik's, depending on their current armor situation and health situation, or Wit's End. Wit's End and Lord Dominik's together, this will be the highest DPS build you can have on Kalista. The only thing is, you won't have much lifesteal aside from Shield Bow, or much health. So this is the most DPS. It's going to be good if you have a shielding Janna, Soraka, any of those supports. You could potentially build a Bloodthirster instead of Wit's End. Wit's End is obviously very good if you need magic resistance. Or you could also sub it out for Guardian Angel, which could be good if you have the Baron and you're trying to end the game on a final push. Really situational, but the highest DPS will be these items right here. And next up we have my build that I've been doing. And again, the starting and the core are the exact same. The biggest difference here is once I have my core items, my next item is the Titanic Hydra. This is such a good item for Kalista, and I've really been enjoying it with the Hurricane. It just stacks so well. Your Hurricane autos will also have that cleaving effect, as well as Titanic Hydra does have on-hit damage, which is always great for Kalista. But also it gives you so much HP that you will start becoming a bruiser champion. In the late game, that Shield Bow is going to do 650 health shield, on top of having 500 health from Titanic. And you also then get a Black Cleaver, which gives you even more health. And the stacking with these items is insane. So your Hurricane's going to give you more cleaving with your Titanic, and then any enemy that gets hit by your Titanic or your Hurricane will then have their armor reduced for the whole team fight. So not only are you reducing their armor for yourself when you're damaging them, but your team is also going to get their armor reduced. So you're turning that Kalista into more of a bruiser utility champion build that can team fight like a beast and damage everybody in the fight. You won't be doing the highest DPS per second like you would with the other build, but this is going to be a much more forgiving build because you're going to have 3,500 HP. You're going to have a shield bow still. You're still going to have all their armor reduced. You're going to be doing much better AoE damage. This is honestly what I think might be the best build right now, especially for some beginner Kalistas. It's going to be a lot less punishing. You know, a LeBlanc or these assassins that are in the meta will not be able to kill you easily, especially if you're running exhaust and you have 3,500 HP with a shield bow. So this is what I would recommend you guys try out. And then I've been waiting for this moment, but when the game is getting too long, my plan is to sell the Berserker Greaves and buy Gargoyle Stone Plate. This will give you a 1,500 HP shield. You can hopefully get you that extra push you need for that final fight, and really put you over the edge. So one of these days, you'll see a video of me in a 40-minute Kalista game winning the game with Gargoyle Stone Plate.